we're back. It's been a long hiatus, but I had to get my life together. Stability just doesn't seem to be in the cards for me. I got to be doing damage control shit on the fly. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Insurrection, Black History Month, and skincare. Buckle up because this is going to be shaky. This is Dre Breezy, and you are now listening to The Breeze. So, y'all haven't heard from me since the election. What has happened since the last episode? A whole fucking lot. Joe Biden won the presidential election with 81 million votes to Donald Trump's 74 million votes. Donald Trump, of course, began making claims that the election was rigged before all the votes were even counted and continues to keep losing with frivolous lawsuits. I think we're officially at 60 failed lawsuits to overturn the results of the election. Trump is not alone. Republican media and Republican Congress have joined Trump in trying to overthrow a fair election. This led to an insurrection on January 6th at the Capitol. 6 Senate Republicans led this insurrection. These were Republican Senators Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Cindy Hyde-Smith, John Neely Kennedy, Roger Marshall, and Tommy Tuberville. In the House, 121 Republicans supported this coup. At least 40 people in Trump's inner circle have tested positive for COVID, including Trump, Stephen Miller, Kayleigh McEnany, Kellyanne Conway, Rudy Giuliani, Ben Carson, and North Carolina's very own Mark Meadows. Trump has proven to be a sore loser and a complete disgrace, even in failure. But they going hard for the women's. Kamala Harris announces an all-female staff, and for the first time, the top 3 positions in the office of the vice president will be held by women. It is an exciting time. And now, the impeachment saga is here. But first, let's talk about this insurrection on January 6th. First of all, let me state that I was not surprised. This is obvious to anyone that was paying attention, anyone that understands how white supremacist American violence is weaved into our system would have seen this coming from light years away. The districts that swung the election for Joe Biden were full of black people. Philadelphia, Detroit, Milwaukee, Atlanta. Electing 2 Democratic senators in Georgia was because of black people. Historically, when black people have legislative victories, there is a literal white lash. This insurrection was a combination of many things, including that white lash. It was literally a violent insurrection against the progressivism and racial diversity that Joe Biden and Democrats represent, coupled with a general frustration at a completely broken system. I understand that frustration very well. I don't understand storming the Capitol with zip ties and pipe bombs in order to force the country to suffer through 4 more years of someone as incompetent as Donald Trump. I know what some of you are going to say. There were a sprinkle of black people there. Yep, and there were black slaves that sold out other slaves. There were Jews in the Holocaust that sold out other Jews. People will put their own ambitions before the well-being of their group all the time. This is nothing new in society. We all remember Samuel Jackson's character from Django. So as soon as Trump begins losing the election, he begins shouting from the rooftops that the election was stolen. This is the same exact thing he did 4 years ago with Hillary. What's pathetic is that he truly believes that he is entitled to the office of the presidency, and that Democrats and other spineless Republicans have conspired to steal that seat from him. To this day, he continues to conspire with other Republicans and conservative media to spread this lie. Just listen to these examples of people like South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who called the Georgia Secretary of State behind closed doors in an attempt for him to cheat in the election.
Democracy depends upon fair elections. President Trump's team is going to have a chance to make a case regarding voting irregularities. They deserve a chance to make that case. I'm going to stand with President Trump. If a Democrat were doing this, it'd be cheered on. We're not going to let the media intimidate us into exploring whether or not these contests were fairly had.
Here is former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani.
The company counting our vote, with control over our vote, is owned by two Venezuelans who were allies of Chavez, are present allies of Maduro, with a company whose chairman is a close associate and business partner of George Soros, the biggest donor to the Democrat Party, the biggest donor to Antifa, and the biggest donor to Black Lives Matter. My goodness, what do we have to do to get you to give our people the truth? As a friend of mine says, I don't believe in conspiracies, but I also don't believe in coincidences. Kind of funny that all Republicans were rejected here, and all Republicans were rejected in Pittsburgh, and it amounts to about, just about the 700,000 votes that President Trump was ahead by 2 days ago that disappeared. And we have no way of knowing, because we were deprived of the right to inspect, if a single one of those ballots is legitimate. That is unheard of. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. And we will be bringing an action challenging that.
Here is Missouri Senator Josh Hawley.
This is my opportunity to stand up and say something, to stand up and point out that there were irregularities in this election, that there was fraud. Nobody disputes that, by the way.
And here is Mein Kampf himself.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. And there are many instances which will be reported very shortly. There's tremendous litigation going on. And this is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election.
Here is what he said hours before the insurrection, right in front of the Capitol.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Here is Mein Kampf Jr.
But I think the number one thing that Donald Trump can do in this election is fight each and every one of these battles to the death, so that we get full transparency in the process. And everyone on the Democrat side should welcome this, unless they're actually cheating. But Donald Trump is going to fight each and every one of these things so we have a fair election, regardless of that outcome. Americans need to know that this is not a banana republic. And right now, very few people have faith that that's not the case.
Republicans have a clever game plan that I have started to notice. Create a fake crisis and then spend every waking moment discussing said fake crisis. This election being stolen is another fake crisis that Republicans have created, just like Benghazi, just like the caravan of immigrants at the border, and just like Hillary Clinton's emails. Speaking of Benghazi, 4 Americans died in Libya, and Republicans spent 28 months and almost $8 million trying to find any way to blame Hillary Clinton for it. January 6th of this year, 5 Americans were killed on American soil, and days later, Republicans are trying to use Joe Biden's calls for unity and some strange appeal to Americans to completely forget about the Capitol attack that they are responsible for. It really is hypocrisy of the highest form. What's most treacherous about the election fraud allegations is there is actual voter suppression happening in this country to Black and brown people. Specifically, the Trump administration has tried to push restrictive voter ID laws in my home state, curtail early voting, end same day registration, and advance other more subtle methods of intimidation. However, Republicans not only ignore these injustices, they are the reason why these injustices are happening, and they maliciously project their own crimes onto their opponents. The natural culmination of telling millions of people that they are being unlawfully deceived is anger. That's why the entire chorus of unity from Republicans falls extraordinarily flat, because they are the same agents that led to the catastrophe on January 6th. They have in no way taken responsibility for their actions. We cannot have unity until we have accountability. We cannot have peace until we have justice. Here's a few examples of Congresspeople that were responsible for the insurrection now appealing to unity.
Let us choose to move forward united for the good of our families, our communities, and our country.
I understand for some, this call for unity may ring hollow.
We as a nation and as an institution have an opportunity to come together.
Have a conscience. Put the people before politics.
Gentleman's time's expired.
Unify
Gentleman from
this
Oklahoma.
country.
Focus on bringing the nation together.
At a time when our nation is still healing, we must seek out issues to work on that unite us, rather than issues that further divide us.
Right now, our focus should be on healing our nation.
These are people that won't even admit that Joe Biden is president, yet they want Democrats to unify with them. Like, get the fuck out of here. In fact, Lindsey Graham and Bitch McConnell were in Mar-a-Lago last week chatting it up with the former traitor-in-chief after he got a mob sent to their job to try to kill them. The issue, well, we have a lot of issues in this country, but the issue with this topic is that Americans refuse to realize when we are on the bad side or the wrong side of history. We always think we are the fucking champions. Truth is, we aren't, and a lot of the people that we cherish and uphold as American heroes were shitty, terrible, and contemptible people. When we allow charlatans such as Ted Cruz to dodge responsibility, like Mike Tyson dodging hooks in the 90s, it diminishes our maturity as a country and our moral righteousness. Luckily, it's Black History Month, and delving into Black history will make that point very clear. But before we talk about Black history, let's discuss the history of Black History Month. Black History Month originally began as Black History Week. Harvard historian Carter G. Woodson noticed the absence of African American contributions in American curriculum and conversation. So in 1915, he and Jesse E. Moreland founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, now known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, or the ASALH. The organization will promote studying Black history as a discipline and celebrate the diverse accomplishments of African Americans. The month of February was chosen because both Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln both have birthdays in that month, days that were already being celebrated by a large portion of Black people. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm dragging a little bit. My head just got real foggy. So it took decades for Woodson's vision to become what we now have today. By the mid-1960s, the most popular textbook for 8th grade U.S. history classes mentioned only 2 Black people in the entire century of history that had transpired since the Civil War, which prompted many colleges and universities to begin actively promoting Black History Month, which would give white people 28 days to learn something, anything about Black people. In actuality, it just gave white people an opportunity to learn about Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, and maybe Malcolm X. In 1976, President Gerald Ford decreed Black History Month a national observance, and voila, American racism was forever fixed. It wasn't as simple as that, but Black History Month did give Black people an opportunity to understand our history and our accomplishments and just thrive and be proud of the melanin. Black accomplishments are American accomplishments, and to exclude them from our curriculum sends the very opposite message. We'll be right back with Skincare 101 after this brief message.
Are you a loud snorer? When you sleep, do you sound like the love child of DMX and Lil Jon in a mosh pit? Have you been diagnosed with sleep apnea and have tried everything but can't fix it? Tired of being embarrassed to fall asleep first? From the makers of Baby No More comes Snorebegon. Snorebegon's world-class scientists have discovered the underlying issue with your snoring problem is that those strong lungs of yours are pushing out all that air through your teeny tiny nostrils. Using our patented decapitation system, we will gently remove you or your partner's head from the rest of their body, and you'll go back to those long, restful nights full of silence and bliss. No more tossing and turning as your partner rumbles like a dragon through the night. With Snorebegon, you can stop ignoring those sleepovers with the person you love. Snorebegon isn't death, or something much better. To get a 1-week free trial on your in-law of your choice, go to www.chophismotherfuckingheadoff.com. Once again, that's www.chophismotherfuckingheadoff.com.
A long time ago, we discussed skincare, and I wanted to pop back into that conversation because sometimes talking about skincare is the only thing that feels easy in life. On our last skincare episode, we discussed cleansers, toners, emulsions, vitamin C serums, moisturizers, and sunblock. Those are the basics. Now let's get into anti-aging and reversing some of that skin damage. Exfoliants. Exfoliating is necessary for undoing skin damage and keeping your pores unclogged. Regular use of exfoliants will give your skin the glow that apparently only pregnant women get. There are 3 different types of exfoliants that I'll discuss in this episode: AHA, BHA, and tretinoins. But there is so much more. AHA stands for alpha hydroxy acid. AHAs are derived from sugarcane or other plant acids and are often referred to as fruit acids. The Mario Badescu's glycolic acid toner that I use is a prime example of a product that fits into this category. AHAs help shed dead skin and stimulate collagen production that will help decrease fine lines and subtle signs of aging. I personally find AHAs are the least harsh on my skin compared to other products. The kojic acid soap that I swear by is also classified as an AHA. BHAs stand for beta hydroxy acid. These probably are most well known through salicylic acid, which is in every acne-fighting topical medication. My history with salicylic acid is bumpy, pun intended. I remember trying Proactive early in high school and not really seeing any noticeable effects other than burning the shit out of my skin. And in fact, that has generally been my experience with salicylic acid. It wasn't until I incorporated retinols into my skincare routine that I began to see changes to my skin. Research shows that BHAs are great for fighting acne bacteria, clogged pores, blemishes, and enlarged pores. Tretinoin is a form of vitamin A that was developed at the University of Pennsylvania in the 1960s. After using Accutane, I knew I needed to use a product that could reproduce those effects and continue to fight my acne. I discovered Retin A, which is arguably the most prescribed acne medication in history. It comes in 3 doses, 1%, 5%, and 10%. It took me years to work my way up to 10%, and I can't stress how important it is to listen to your skin and not rush the process. Retin-A is a very harsh product and will fuck your skin all the way up if you try to start off with the strongest dose. Retin-A is like most drugs, you got to build up a tolerance, okay? Slow it down. So start off with the lowest dose, 2 to 3 times a week, and then slowly increase weekly usage. When you are comfortable, upgrade to a higher percentage and slow down your weekly usage as your skin adjusts. I wish I had pictures that could show you all the damage I did to my skin trying to rush through the tretinoin process. I'm talking about full on chemical burn damage. I'm talking about leaving there on your face. You know, that shit, it was rough. It was rough. I had to call out of work a couple times because I look crazy. I'm talking Wicked Witch of the East, North, South, and West. So, Retin-A will cause your skin to peel a lot. It will make sure, all of that skin is just shedding constantly. And that basically comes through dead skin and shedding skin. So you're gonna look a little flaky. But make sure that you just wash off all those dead skin cells, all those dead skin particles with, a good rag, a good towel, a good kind of brush. If you've got your Clarisonic, make sure you get all up in there. But when using these products, your skin is going to be more raw and more sensitive. So you don't want to use anything on the highest setting. You want to use a lot of products that won't, you don't want to be like drilling into your skin. You just want to shut off that top layer. If not, you're going to look like one of the extras in Michael Jackson's Thriller video. So Retin-A will also make your skin a lot more susceptible to sun damage, so skipping sunblock is non-optional. I don't use a dermatologist for my prescription. I found this website. It's based out of India. It's called All Day Chemist, and their products have not let me down. If you go to my website, I'm going to have a link to that on this page. I hope this podcast was informative. I am going to try to do something spectacular this month. It's Black History Month, so I need to make sure that all the Black heroes are spoken for. I mean, obviously I can't do everybody, but I'm going to try to do as many people as I can this month that are Black and give them, their roses. We just lost Cicely Tyson, which is a huge blow, to the artistic community, to the Black community. And I want to make sure she's honored. And I think I'm going to start off first, though, with my favorite author. Her name is Octavia Butler. So you can look forward to the next episode focusing on her legacy and her life and the amazing contributions she's had upon American literature canon. Thank you guys so much for listening to my podcast. Once again, it's been a while, but you guys have stuck around. I've had a lot of y'all ask questions about when I'm doing the next episode. So here it is. And I promise I'm going to try to be more regular, but I got to make sure, everything is situated on the Dre train. Okay. You got to make sure all the passengers are strapped in. Everybody's got their seatbelt on because I can't do this shit if I'm homeless. So you guys take care. Thank you guys for listening. Go to my website, www.findthebreeze.com, to hear any of my other episodes or to read any of my work or to buy some of my art if you're interested in any of that. And I love you guys and have a good night.